Welcome back and hello if you are new. So thanks so much for tuning in. This week I'm going to be reviewing an album by a band that I've pretty much kind of grown up with. And following their release Mark of the Blade and the singles that were released previously, I wasn't exactly holding out very high hopes for Whitechapel. Luckily, all of these fears have been put to rest, and I was absolutely, really blown away by what Whitechapel have put together on The Valley. As the artwork might suggest, The Valley is based upon true events that happened to frontman Phil Bozeman. Specifically, the album deals with the idea of the schizophrenic tendencies that his mother had, but also puts it kind of against this parallel of demons where you're not really too sure what's real and what is the more fantastical edge of the story. Having been a fan of the band since their early days of This Is Exile, it's been fantastic to see how the band's overall sound has been maturing. Now, particularly one catalyst moment was Whitechapel's self-titled record, and it was here that they really began to play with this idea of atmosphere. And for me, there's nothing really that's quite matched it in terms of a cohesive sound on a record since that album. The album also has a terrific sense of balance, and following the moody dark cleans of Hickory Creek, we're then brought into those elephantine stomping riffs that we've come to know from Whitechapel on Black Bear. And it's this difference of pace which really not only highlights the more kind of clean and ferocious sound that they might have, but also the bludgeoning riffs that they've put together. This is then followed up by the following track on We Are One, which more than makes up for the kind of more grooving, solid riffs with massive blast beats and a real kind of death metal aesthetic. The band have also experimented when it comes to solos as well, and there's a fantastic example of a solo which is almost more alter bridge than it is aborted on Third Depth. Make no mistake though, Whitechapel have definitely not lessened their overall aggressive impact. For example, Forgiveness is Weakness or The Other Side will literally rip through you. But it's the likes of the progressive opener, When a Demon Defiles a Witch, that really sets the pace and the album's overall tone. It also showcases how mature Whitechapel's songwriting has become. Dealing with real-life issues that Bozeman experienced, there is an element of this fantastical nature which gives it almost more of a storytelling aspect, even though these are pretty horrific events. And particularly with the likes of the poster, you know, it creates this own universe around the album, and for me, reminded me of those classic 70s slasher posters. Obviously drawing from his own experiences, this makes the record so much more personal. But it's the way that it's delivered for me which makes it so emotive. Be it absolute hatred or sadness, there's always this element of resilience that I felt from Bozeman, you know, that resilience to give up. However, despite all the resilience, what makes this album human is the sense of vulnerability. And the lyrics, for example, are a massive part of that. Even with you dead, I still feel the pain. In my heart, things will never be the same. And you know, that section on Third Depth where it kind of brings everything back. This is a really emotionally vulnerable part of the song. Not stable. I'm not stable. But then later on Lovelace, there's this kind of scream of help me, which is really quite full on, to be fair. It really does put you in that very dark place that Bozeman must have been in. And if anything, it shows how versatile his clean singing has become. You know, the band experimented with different ideas on Bring Me Home, but now they've gone full pelt on the likes of Hickory Creek and When a Demon Defiles a Witch, and I think the band are all the better for it. Following the exit of their previous drummer, Whitechapel enlisted Naveen Copperweiss to be in charge of drum duties, and he absolutely smashed it. Apparently he learned all the tracks in 5 days and delivers such a solid but also really fluid performance throughout the record. I went into this album thinking that all the songs would sound the same, they'd be incredibly throwaway. However, there is actually a formula at work here. And aside from it being the most cohesive release the band have put together in a very long time, it also highlights the importance of a brilliant track listing. Had this been done wrong, it may not have had the same effect, but because of the track listing, it flows perfectly. This is the strongest Whitechapel record in a long time. However, there could have been perhaps a little bit more experimental nature on there, but I do get it, they are kind of pushing the boat out, but I feel that Whitechapel have really found their new sound. And for that reason, I'm going to give the record a 4 out of 5. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out all my interviews, album reviews, all sorts of good stuff. Let me know what you think of the singles and the Valley when it comes out, and I'll see you guys next week for another album review. Alright, take care friends.